Today I want to show you a completely different way to practice all of your chords, and this is super fun, okay? We're going to do the chords in fifths instead of thirds. And you might think, well, what's the difference? It's a big difference in the way it sounds to your ear. It's very fresh. It's going to stick with you. And let me play it. Here's the conventional way in thirds. Here they are in fifths. Don't the fifths stand out more? You're hearing a fifth here and a fifth here, versus hearing 3/3, versus hearing major third, minor third, major third. Okay, for the major 7 chord, here, major third, minor third, major third, versus perfect fifth, perfect fifth. Hearing those perfect fifths like that, very powerful for the ear. Another reason, you're hitting what the bass player would play, which is mostly roots and fifths, and then you're hearing what I call the color tones, the 3 and the 7. They're grouped together. So you've got the root and fifth, which are notes the bass player is going to play, and then you've got the 3 and 7, which notes the piano player is going to put in his voicing. So it really lets your ear organize it in a different way. Now I've showed this, I've got about 25 students currently working on this. All of them said they love it. It's helping them. And they're hearing the chords better and they're having more fun playing the chords. Again, nothing wrong with the thirds, but you need a break from the thirds for a little bit and start doing them in fifths. So I'm just going to play them, especially this chord. This is the number one problem chord for people learning their chords. It's the half diminished chord. And I think the reason is they can't hear the difference between that and a minor chord, because it's sort of buried in the middle. Listen to the difference when I do it in fifths. You hear it right away, okay? Now, the other reason I love doing the chords in fifths is because it works really well with the 4 directions. You remember the 4 directions? If you haven't watched the video, just go to the search field, type in 4 directions, and you can see the whole video where I talk about it. Basically though, we just did direction 1, which was everything was going up. 1, 5, 3, 7. Okay, now we're going to do direction 2. We're going to come down. So we're going to go 7, 3, 5, 1. Can you do that? 7, 3, 5, 1. Okay. And now we're just going to go through the other chord types in my C. Here's the dominant one. Can you play that one? One more time. Now this one, that B flat to the E, you're actually hearing a diminished fifth on the top and a perfect fifth on the bottom. Da da ba da. Okay? Next we have minor. So we're back to 2 perfect fifths, but now the distance apart, they're a minor third apart. When we were doing the major, they were a major third apart, right? Because the distance of the E to the C was a major third. So you hear that the 5-1 is staying exactly in the same location, but this, that's really good for the ear to hear that that's all that's moving, that little bit, okay? One more time. Here's the C minor 7, my key. Can I play it? Okay. Next one, the half diminished chord. 7, 3, 5, 1. So we're going to go B flat, E flat, G flat, C. And of course, I'm talking in tenor key because I'm holding a tenor. I know some guys, they talk in concert all the time. I like whatever instrument I hold. If I'm holding an alto, I talk alto notes. If I'm playing the piano, I talk concert. That's just the way I like to do it. So you should be able to transpose easily though. These are not real difficult things to transpose, so I think you'll be cool. Okay, the last chord, the final one, the diminished chord. Now that was two diminished fifths, a minor third apart from each other. All right, we're ready for direction 3. Direction 3 is always my favorite. As you know from other videos, I love contrasting ideas. I like the idea of one melody going up while the other's going down, or contrary motion. And so you get that with direction 3. We're going to go up 1-5. We're going to come down 7-3. So I'm just going to play them one after the other so we get a little bit of a flow going here. Okay, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got direction 4 coming up. Direction 4 is a little harder. We're going to go 7-3, 1-5. One after the other. Now, maybe you're not ready to do them that fast, and I don't want you to if you're not ready. You got to go at the speed your ear can handle. This is ear training. You're trying to get your ear to follow these patterns. Not always that easy. So I just did the 5 basic C chords: major, dominant, minor, half diminished, full diminished. There's much more you can do, okay? And I'd like to end the video by giving you something for the advanced players watching this. What would be the next 2 notes coming up, right? We had 1-5, 3-7. If we continue that pattern, the next 2 numbers would be 5 and 9. If you said 5 and 9, you're correct. So 1-5, 3-7, 5-9. Very cool sound. It gets really colorful when you add the 9th, because the 9th, it's what I call a money note. The way that the 9th interacts with the 3rd of the chord especially, it makes it very flavorful harmonically. Now that dominant chord, I just treated it as a major 9th, okay? But again, if you're talking advanced players, you might want to put a flat 9. Or a sharp 9. Which is spicy. It's a very spicy note. Let's go on to the minor chord. That's a nice stack of fifths. Always reminds me of the old style commercial from 1979. If you want to hear, that was the old style jingle when I was a kid watching the Cubs games on Channel 9 in Chicago, okay? Go to YouTube, type in old style beer 1979. Their commercial uses chords and fifths, minor chords specifically. At the beginning, at the end of the commercial, they play that. So when I hear a minor chord and fifths, actually that's what I think of. It's how I just because when I was a kid, I watched it so much growing up. Okay. That's with the 9th. So I got C, G, E flat, B flat, and then G, D. Okay, let's go to the half diminished chord. I'm going to use a major 9 on this. You could play the flat 9, but I generally like the flat 9 more at the bottom, not the top of the voicing. I'll let you hear what it sounds like. It's okay. It's a lot more dissonant. So I generally go with the major 9 by default, unless there's a reason why I need that more dissonant sound. And I do need it sometimes. There are times when I will want the flat 9, so I'm not saying don't ever play it. But I generally go with the major 9 when possible. Okay, the final chord, the diminished. Major 9 on the diminished as well. Now, when you're doing the diminished, you also have a choice of 7ths. You can do the diminished 7th, but you also could do the major 7. Which I love the sound of the major 7, so I will go with the major 7. It sounds so modern. here they are. All the types. I'm not going to stop. I won't talk in between. Here they are, one after another, all the way going up to the 9. Okay, and that was a direction 1. You want to get all 4 directions. You want to do all the chord types. Now you can choose how you want to approach this to practice it. You can do all C chords like I just did, and then the next day do all your F chords, and then the next day do all your B flat chords. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to just do my major 7 chords but in 12 keys today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the dominant chords in 12 keys. So it's really up to you, and I would mix it up. I would try it both ways. All right? One final thought, if you're practicing the hip licks book, these chords and fifths work perfectly with the major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7 licks. So I want you to do it like this. Play the chord and fifths first, followed by the lick. So lick 25. Notice how much nicer that sounds than just going. Here it is in fifths. Here's lick 26. It just gives you a different spread on the chord voicing. It's interesting because it's really the same voicing, but listen to lick 26. Now in fifths. Something about it just, it gets your ear to hear the lick a little bit more clearly in terms of the harmony. All right? Have fun with that. I'll see you soon.